How's it going, everybody? I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day like myself. I hope your killer matches have been going well, and if you're a survivor main, I hope you get tunneled out every single game. But today I'm going to be bringing you guys my top 10 favorite perks. Now, I'm not making the bold claim that these are the best perks in the game or anything, so don't get my words twisted. Calm down. It's not that serious, it's just a game. But these are 10 perks that I've had quite a bit of success with myself, and I was hoping that I could share that with you guys so you guys could do the same. And I really don't like asking for this, but honestly, if you guys are new to my channel, I'm a fairly new content creator myself, so I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. I'm on the road to 100 subscribers. We'll see if I can get it to 1,000 by the end of this year. But with that, I don't want to waste you guys' attention span any longer, so let's just get straight into it. Now, coming in at number 10, we have Spies from the Shadows. Now, this perk is absolutely slept on, but I think that it's time that I wake y'all ass up. Another thing is that this is not an exclusive perk to any killer, so I guarantee you that you already have this. It reads, the crows found in this world can communicate with you directly. 100% of the time, calling crows give you a visual cue and you are within a 36-meter range. Spies from the Shadows has a cooldown of 5 seconds. Now what this does is any time that one of the survivors is stupid and decides to scare a crow, that's going to give you a visual cue and also a sound cue. I don't know why it doesn't state that. You will actually know where the survivor is at. So if they're nearby you and they're hiding, now they're not. And the thing that makes this perk busted is that they don't know you have it. In fact, the only way that they can know you have this is just an educated and extremely lucky guess. There's just no way they're gonna know. They're not gonna figure this one out. That's what makes it absolutely busted. When they're near you, they're gonna have no clue how you found them. And then when they get into the end game, they're gonna be like, oh, damn. I've used this perk on many killers. One killer specifically that I recommend for this perk is Dracula. Reason being is because you can't actually see the survivors when you're using his ability as a bat. Another killer I'd recommend would be Spirit, because like Dracula, you can't see them when you're using her ability, which honestly makes this perk extremely usable. But there's really not too much else to say about this perk, so let's go ahead and get to the next one. Now I'm gonna say this, if you are a not nice killer, this perk right here is going to absolutely tickle your balls. Not necessarily because it's broken or anything, because it's easily counterable, but because it's really annoying. And that perk, Franklin's Demise. Now this is a cannibal exclusive perk, so you're going to want to put a prestige on Bubba. I think this perk is absolutely cringe, so if you guys are looking to give the survivors a really annoying and frustrating game, this will be the perk for you. Your basic attacks make survivors drop their item on impact. While on the ground, it takes up to 90 seconds for the item to lose all of its charges if it is not picked up. Reveal items on the ground within 32 meters in a white aura. The aura will slowly fade to red until the item is empty of charges. And another thing that makes this perk really useful is a lot of the times they won't even realize at the beginning of the game that you have it. Now essentially this perk is a better form of Lightborn. If you don't know, Lightborn makes you immune to flashlights. But screw that, because we can just make them drop their flashlights, and their toolboxes, and their medkits, and their keys, and their maps, etc. It's an extremely good perk in my opinion. It's really cringe. If you're trying to play a casual game, this is not the perk for you. But anyone who watches my channel, they're probably already a sweat, so this is going to be a good perk for a lot of my viewers. But with that, on to the next perk. Now this perk is absolutely BS because it's going to keep the survivors off the generators because they have to take the time to mend themselves. Wounds inflicted by basic attacks cause the survivors to suffer from the hemorrhage and mangled status effect for 90 seconds. It also increases the rate at which healing progression is lost from hemorrhage by 25%. So if you have a killer that does this automatically, such as Legion, this is going to be really stupid. You might want to pair this with one of those perks. I don't know which ones exactly, but I know that there's some perks in the game that reduce healing speed. I'm pretty sure, especially after, I think there's one that does that after they're saved from hooks, so that'd be a really good perk to pair with this. I'm sure there's some other combinations. Honestly, let me know in the comments what kind of perks you guys enjoy using, because I would be happy to know. I'm always down to look and find out about new perks that I didn't know about before. So if there's any perks, any kind of recommendations you guys have, let me know down in the comments below. I will greatly appreciate it. But with that, let's get on to the next perk. Now for number 7, we have Cruel Limits. Every time a generator is completed, all window and vault locations are blocked for all survivors for the next 30 seconds. Now this is not necessarily a perk that will keep your pressure. It is a perk that will give you your pressure back when you lose it. So if they complete a generator, then if you're in chase with anybody, they're going to have nowhere to go because all windows, all vault locations are blocked. So the only thing that they have to use against you are pallets. And I'd also highly recommend that you prestige Demogorgon as soon as possible because he has another really good perk called Surge, which anytime you down a survivor, any generators nearby are going to explode and start losing progress. But that only really works on stupid survivors. Smart survivors are just going to run you away from the generator the second that they figure out that you have it. So that's why that perk didn't make it on this list, even though it'd probably land on number 11 if this was like a top 15, but it's not, it's a top 10. So I decided to leave it off the list, but that's another perk that comes from Demogorgon that while you were at it prestiging him, that's another perk that you might be interested in. Now for number 6, we have an aura read perk. This perk is absolutely BS. Every time you hook a survivor, all other survivors' auras are revealed to you for 5 seconds when they are further than 40 meters away from the hook. This is a really good, especially to prevent the other survivor from getting hatched, because the second you get a hook, if they're far away from you, you know where they're at, and if they're close to you, then you know that they're within 40 meters of you. So you know where to start looking right off the rip. This is just a really good Bubba perk that I highly recommend because it's insane. It's so cringe. This perk, I play Demogorgon a lot, so this perk gives me a lot of use, especially with the teleport that he has. This perk is just, it's insane. I get value from it the entire game. I 100% recommend this perk right here. Now for number 5, we actually have a tie between two perks. Not necessarily because they're tied is my favorite, but because these two perks play off of each other and I rarely use one without the other. And that's Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, and Dead Man's Switch. Now I will warn you, Pain Resonance is a little bit of a word salad, but bear with me, I'm going to explain it to you guys. So at the start of the trial, 4 random hooks are changed to Scourge Hooks. You see their auras in white. You start the trial with 4 tokens, 1 for each survivor. If a generator is available when that survivor is hooked, you lose 1 token. The generator with the most progress explodes, instantly losing 20% progress and starts to regress. Survivors repairing the generator will also scream. So if you're nearby, you're going to know where they're at. That's pretty handy if you ask me. But here's the reason that I like to pair Dead Man's Switch with it. When you hook a survivor, Dead Man's Switch activates. The first survivor that stops repairing a generator causes the entity to block it for 50 seconds. But the thing is, Pain Res forces them off the generator. Dead Man's activates after you hook a survivor, which you have to do to activate Pain Res. So these perks right here play off of each other extremely well, because not only are you losing that 20% progress on the generator, they can't just hop right back on it. It gets blocked for 50 seconds and is regressing for that entire time, making this absolutely not nice. This is one of the most evil combinations of perks right here, and almost everybody uses it, so this was probably not a shocker that it was on this list. But like I said, these are my favorite perks. Just because it's a popular perk doesn't mean that it's not going to be on my list. I know almost everybody and their grandma uses these 2 perks together, or maybe they just use one or the other. But either way, these 2 perks right here, absolutely one of my top favorite perks. I use them on a lot of different killers. Very versatile, works on anybody pretty much. It's very, very toxic. It's just evil, if we're being honest. This is just absolutely rancid. This is toxic behavior. This is get the survivors to DC behavior. This is just absolutely the most evil combination of perks that I can possibly muster up. Now next up we have Bamboozle, a clown perk. Your vault speed is 15% faster. Nice, but that's not the only thing that is really good about this perk. Performing a vault action calls upon the entity to block that vault location to survivors for 16 seconds. So you can use this to prevent them from just abusing the same loop over and over again, because then they're going to have to immediately run to another pallet or another window. Maybe you can get a pallet stun, or maybe you can get a pallet broken. Maybe you can get the hit if you're lucky. Who knows? But this perk right here is really good, especially if you're not very good at chasing. This is a perk right here that could really help you out with that. Now on to number 3. This is one of my personal favorite perks, but here recently I haven't been using it too much. I used to use it a whole bunch before I started YouTube, but this is just absolutely a cringe perk. Nobody's gonna like you if you use this. After a survivor loses a health state by any means, Gearheads activates for 30 seconds. While Gearhead is active, every time a survivor performs a good skill check while repairing a generator, their aura is revealed to you for 8 seconds. Oh my god, this is evil. This is just using this perk means you must be fueled with just absolute hatred for these survivors, man. This perk right here is just so cringe, because it's immediately just going to tell you which survivors are on Zens for the next 30 seconds after you get a hit. making this absolutely cringe whatsoever. Any way you want to put it, this perk is going to benefit you every game that you play. Now for the number 2 spot, this is where we really start to cook up. We have Discordance. Any generator within a range of 128 meters that is being repaired by 2 or more survivors is marked by a yellow aura. Just think about that. Let that marinate in your head for a second. You ever had a team that the second you get in the game, they just hop on generators, and then 10 seconds into the match, pop, 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 generators just start popping left and right, and the game's already over before it's even begun. This right here is going to prevent that, because the second you see that yellow aura, you're going to head straight there. Now, I do want to mention that this perk is not very good for low mobility killers. So any killer that's not very fast or doesn't have a teleport or anything like that, this perk probably not going to help you out too much. It is a Legion perk, by the way, and it's probably pretty good for Legion. I'm not a Legion player myself, so I really wouldn't know too much about that. But personally, I really like to use it on Demogorgon because he has that teleport, and it also lets me know where the survivors are going to be. You got to keep in mind, not only does it tell you which generator is being worked on, it tells you where 2 or more of the survivors are at, and knowing where multiple people are at the same time is something that's going to be extremely useful especially at the beginning of your match. Now, one thing is some survivors are smart and they'll figure out that you have this perk pretty early on, especially if you just start running to the gen immediately after you see Discordance go off. So if you're playing with smarter or high MMR survivors, just keep in mind that this might backfire on you. Now finally, for the number 1 spot, my absolute favorite perk, or I should say perks, because this is another tie, because these are 2 perks that I really like to use together, especially on low mobility killers that can't get around too often. This is just a really, honestly, it's good on any killer. It's absolutely cringe. We have Brutal Strength and Enduring. So I'll start with Brutal Strength, a Trapper perk, my main, by the way. Destroy drop pallets, breakable walls, and generators 20% faster. That gives you so much more time. And then we go on to Enduring. Does pretty much the same thing. You reduce the duration of pallet stuns by 50%. This is much better than trying to fake out the pallet stun, make them think they're going to get it, then you step back, because sometimes you can waste a lot of time trying to do that. Why don't you just instead guarantee that you have 50% more time to get right back in chase, run them to another pallet, just start popping those pallets left and right. And then with the Brutal Strength, it's going to work together, because you're going to have these 2 perks working very well together, because not only is it going to take you 50% less long to recover from getting a pallet stun, it's also going to allow you to break the pallet 20% faster. So this is just absolutely cringe. What are they going to do? You're just going to start causing them to waste pallets, because they're not going to have time to run to a god pallet. They're just going to have to run to the nearest shitter pallet. There you go. You might even get a hit if you're lucky. These 2 perks right here is just absolutely cringe. And I know that they aren't necessarily the best 2 perks in the game. And you know, you could obviously run some kind of gen regress like Pain Res, Dead Man, something else. But like I said, this isn't a list of the best perks in the game. These are just my personal favorites, and that's why I'm recommending these to you, is because I've had a lot of success with most of these perks, and I highly recommend them to anybody, especially if you're a newer killer. I recommend looking over this list and deciding what works best for you. But as this video comes to an end, I would also like to once again ask you guys very kindly, if you enjoyed this content and you want daily Dead by Daylight videos, consider hitting that subscribe button. You know, leave a comment, let me know your favorite perks yourself, let me know what kind of perks that you be using, let me know your builds, all of that, etc. Hopefully you guys have as much success as I've been having with these killer matches, because honestly, using a combination of these perks has been going very well for me. I've been having a lot of fun playing the game, and I hope you guys are having the same amount of fun. Like I said, I'll be uploading daily, so if you guys want to see lots of Dead by Daylight content, whether it be guides, gameplay, or just overall commentary on the current state of the game, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. It just helps me out a lot. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get up to 100 subscribers. But with that, I'm going to call that a video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.